Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Think Before You Hate podcast. I'm Alex with the Chicago Commission on Human Relations, and we're the city's civil rights agency. What we do is we enforce the Chicago Human Rights Ordinance, as well as the Fair Housing Ordinance, and that is how we fight discrimination and prejudice here in the city of Chicago. Today, we have the great pleasure of speaking to Paul Luu, who heads up the CASL. And Paul, thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate you hopping on our podcast. And today he is going to speak about CASL, how CASL serves the community, and also about the Chinese American experience in Chicago. So without further ado, Paul, will you please tell us a little bit about yourself? Where did you grow up and how did you become an advocate for the Chinese community in Chicago?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say thanks for inviting me
of course,
to be here today. Actually, I grew up in a small little town, actually 2.5 hours south of here in Champaign-Urbana.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
yes.
So it's a university town, and spent my childhood there. Left to go to universities, and came back and did a lot of work in the community in Champaign-Urbana and the county itself. And then just, my career, my nonprofit career took me to Chicago and worked for the Boys and Girls Club Chicago, and then became president and CEO of the Vietnamese Association of Illinois, and ultimately becoming the CEO for Chinese American Service League today. It's been a great pleasure being part of the leadership at CASL. It's a great organization. It's well respected, but also it's very humbling to be in my position, especially right now as we help guide and lead our community and our staff through some really challenging times.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, will you please tell us about the Chinese American Service League, its history, its mission, and what led you to serve as its CEO?
CASL was founded by 10 great Chinese American leaders. We started with one desk, one telephone, one typewriter. If you can remember that back then. One small little office on the second floor of a dentist's office. And it was led by the great Bernie Wong. And she was our first executive director and president of CASL and one of our founders. And she was there for over 41 years. And with her and so many great leaders in the past and the board members, they really built a foundation of service for our community, but also serving so many immigrant and allyship with other marginalized community in Chicago. CASL's mission, when I always think about what we do, it's really simple. It's really two things. Right? Every day we provide opportunities for the families we serve, and that generates hope into the community. So when people ask me, yes, what's CASL's mission or core values or who we are, it's about, for us, it's giving opportunities and hope for our communities and the people we serve. And again, it's been extremely humbling to be the CEO. And November 1st actually would be my 8th year. It feels like 28 years, working as CEO of CASL. But as an organization leader, it's been some trying times right now, as we try to navigate through some of these challenging landscape that all of us are experiencing.
Right. What is the size of the Chinese American community in Chicago? Has it grown? How does CASL respond to the evolving needs of the community?
Yeah, so the total Asian American population in Chicago since 2010, it's about 145,000, right, in Chicago, and that's in 2010. And so in 2020, when there was another census, it was 190,000. So in a decade, the Asian American population, increased by 31%. And it's one of the fastest growing population in Chicago. And the Chinese community population of the Asian American population in total is the fastest growing in Chicago. Now, predominantly, many of the Chinese community members or families, they reside in neighborhoods like Bridgeport, McKinley Park, Archer, down Archer Avenue, right, for sure, and then Armour Square, where Chinatown is located.
Oh, right. Of course. Now, what are some misconceptions about the Chinese community in Chicago? What do you want people to know about the Chinese community?
We are one of the oldest neighborhoods in Chicago. I think people forget that. Right? So people go to Chinatown to eat, to celebrate, to have fun. Boba tea, for sure. You get you get your dim sum and so on. But what's really important is that we are one of the oldest neighborhood in Chicago, and we are a neighborhood of hardworking business leaders. And also as a community, there's a lot of stereotype out there about our community, right? We're hardworking, yes, we are, but we're very successful. Well, we can say yes or no about that, but our community is also in need of help, right? Because of stereotypes in the model minority myths, people believe that our community is extremely successful, right? Where there's two heads of household, they're making, two incomes, they have two cars, they live in the Loop or the South Loop. That's not necessarily so. The families that we serve, which is in the thousands each year, have needs, and they struggle every single day, from looking for jobs to having health issues and having challenges with language and cultural issues. So that's why we're there. So because of the stereotypes in the model minority myth, that's a challenge for many of our community members.
Makes sense. Thank you for addressing that. With CASL's long history of serving the community, how does the organization currently address community concerns about immigration law enforcement?
Well, it's really important first that we work together as a coalition or as an allyship, working with our local leaders, that's in Chicago, working with our community leaders in Chinatown, but leaders across the country in all communities. The first thing that's really important is about making sure that information is shared appropriately. Second, and most importantly, is that if there is misinformation, that we correct the misinformation in our community, because with misinformation, it provides and creates fear.
Sure.
And when you have that, then there's a lack of trust within the provider itself, right? And where it be coming from media, be coming from CASL, or for elsewhere. So we want to make sure that information is accurate and timely to our community. The other thing is that, we provide trauma-informed service of care, a holistic approach to our community. Many of our families are seeing, the challenges, seeing neighbors who are being arrested, seeing where their children are fearful to go to school. So we have these behavioral health services at CASL to provide the support. The other is that we have legal services for our community members. It's a pro bono legal clinic, and so families and individuals can come in to provide support, to receive support free of charge, on any legal services, but especially on immigration status and immigration questions they may have, and so on. We're one of 49 welcoming center in Illinois. So we provide the service there daily, Monday through Saturday. So if there's any questions about service through government systems or assistance for individuals, question about immigrations also, we could provide that support. We're also connected to our state leaders and our leaders in Washington, D.C. Right? So we're always making sure that we have a voice for our community and sharing the needs of our communities and the challenges of our community. And then finally, we have what's called our anti-hate action center. So there's 3 components to that, where we educate, we prevent, and we support families or individuals who have experienced hate additionally. So it's a very comprehensive way of serving the community and families and individuals.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of widespread resources that you have to serve the community and fight off misinformation as well. Can you please share with us a story of a direct positive impact that CASL has had on the community or a particular individual?
Are you referring to more about the issue of immigration, or just any
story? It could be about immigration. Or
Sure.
It doesn't have to be.
Sure. Let's talk about one family.
Sure.
We served, instead of one individual, we look at an entire family. Okay. So many families in Chinatown and the families that we serve typically have 3-generation household. We had a family who the mother was really sick with cancer. She was in the hospital. The father had a stroke at the same time while helping the mother. The son was a university student, 2.5 hours south of here, and he had a sibling who was 10 years old. That whole entire family needed help. One, ultimately, and it was a tragedy, the mother passed away from cancer. The father had a stroke, and so his oldest son had to seek guardianship. And so we intervened by providing legal support to support the son to be the legal guardian of his brother. At the same time, he was a university student, so we worked with the university to allow him to study and take classes virtually. The mother passed away. The family, unfortunately, didn't have the means to provide burial services, so we worked with the state of Illinois to cover all those costs. And the father was bedridden because of the stroke, and so we provide caretakers for the father. The amazing thing is that, it's like we provide 3 different, and I forgot to mention the young son, a young brother, right? I believe he's not 10 but 5, so he was introduced to our child care program. So the entire family was taken care of by CASL, different programs, a different department, and all services are free.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's really great. Very compelling story. Now, as we're wrapping up our conversation, here's a question I'll ask you, as I ask all of our guests. In your opinion, what can our listeners do in their everyday lives to combat hate and discrimination?
I think it's really important for all listeners to report hate.
True.
So when you see hate, you have to speak up and report hate. Second is, I think it's really important is to understand the history and culture of every community. And third, if they're interested, is to take action. So CASL has the anti-hate center. And if they're interested to learn about what we do, is to reach out to us because we're in the community. We can provide teachings and lessons. We can work with corporations and families and schools. We work with the Chicago Police Department. We work with the FBI. We work with the Chicago Public School System. We have staff into so many different partnerships, talking, educating, reinforcing, and ensuring that hate doesn't arise in these communities and all communities. So if there's individuals who are interested, they can reach out to CASL to learn about what we're doing with the Anti-Hate Center. Perfect answer. Now, is there anything that you feel we didn't discuss today that you want to bring up? I think it's important if anyone's interested in volunteering for CASL, learning about CASL, is to reach out to us at caslservice.org, or can look at our LinkedIn page, Facebook page, or Instagram under Chinese American Service League. Beautiful. So there you have it, everyone. If that's how you contact CASL. And Paul, thank you very much for your time in discussing the Chinese American experience, and as well as CASL and how it serves the community. And really appreciate your wisdom. Thank you very much for hopping on. And I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope everyone listening has as well. And thank you to all of our listeners for joining us for another episode of the Think Before You Hate podcast. Remember, if you or anybody you know believes that they've been a victim of discrimination, please do not hesitate to contact the Chicago Commission on Human Relations at 312-744-4111. Again, that is 312-744-4111. Please follow us on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, and most recently Blue Sky. And until next time, remember, think before you hate.